What's going on, guys? We're back today with another NHL ranking video, and this time we're going to be ranking my top 10 favorite teams, the 10 teams I am cheering for here in the 2024-2025 season. This is going to clear up maybe some of the biases. Let's clear it up. Let's get it off the table with some of the other videos I might have posted. Anyways, there's a few teams I really cheer for. I'm going to be ranking all these in a tier list based on like how I cheer for them, but I like a lot of teams in the NHL. I dislike a lot of teams in the NHL, but right here we're just going to be going over my top 10 favorite teams in the NHL. Let's get right into it with number 10. So in the number 10 slot, marked just for fun, I'm actually going to have two teams tied for the 10th spot on this list. That is going to be the Edmonton Oilers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, the reason I like these teams, let's start with the Oilers, they're just so fun to watch. I mean, they're basically like the Golden State Warriors of the NHL, where they just have such high-end loaded talent that anytime you turn on an Oilers game, it's just fun to watch. And the Oilers are one of those teams where, like, if none of my favorite teams are playing that night, and I just see the Oilers hosting, it doesn't even matter. I'll throw that game on over like basically the bottom 22 teams on this list because they're just fun to watch. It's a fun environment. Connor McDavid is the best athlete on the planet, in my opinion. Draisaitl's fun. I mean, it's usually high scoring, high action, fun games to watch. Now, let's go over to the Toronto Maple Leafs because I know like the Toronto Maple Leafs are basically, I'd say, the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL, where like their fans can be considered delusional and a lot of teams like to clown on them. But here's why I like tuning into the Leafs games. It's honestly because of exactly that. They're an entertaining organization, they're an entertaining franchise. They haven't won the cup in 67 years. Their fans are so passionate about their Maple Leafs. And it just makes it that much more funny, say, when they get out for in the first round for the 10th year in a row, but honestly, I do kind of cheer for the Maple Leafs when they're in the playoffs because I cheer for happy human beings, and seeing the Maple Leafs fans just go crazy, go nuts over any goal scored in a Leafs playoff game. It's fun. It's entertaining to watch, and they also have some fun players to watch. Austin Matthews, I had on my fantasy team last year when he had 69 goals in the season, so it was easy to cheer for him, and he's an American boy too, and he'll be on Team USA. And yeah, the Leafs are just kind of, a Canadian market team that's entertaining, fun to watch. And that's why them and the Oilers are number 10 in the just for fun tier on this list. Coming in at number 9, I have the LA Kings. Now, in this tier marked like, these are just going to be some teams that I don't necessarily cheer for all the time, but if there's just a random game on TV and they're playing a random team, it's likely I'll be cheering for them for the reasons I'm about to explain here. Starting with the LA Kings, the reason I like the LA Kings is mostly because my dad lived in LA for the majority of his life. So when I was just a little boy in 2012 and 2014, and my dad had those LA King playoff Stanley Cup runs up on the TV, and he was cheering for him loudly, I just naturally, when I was first kind of getting into hockey, was also kind of cheering for Jonathan Quick and the LA Kings. And when I was playing NHL 14, 15, 13, I was always the LA Kings, and I always loved Jonathan Quick. And so I kind of grew up with the Kings. And although I don't, really care for them that much anymore, and they're pretty much first round auto exits to the Oilers every year, I still do, like, if they were in the cup against a random Eastern Conference team, I'd definitely probably cheer for the LA Kings. Just for my dad, because he's always been an LA Kings fan, and I grew up kind of cheering for them as well when I didn't really know much about hockey. So LA Kings coming in at number 9. Coming in at number 8 in the same tier as the Kings, I have the Vancouver Canucks. One of my best friends, his name is Jonathan. He is a huge Canucks fan, and he's kind of also one of the main people that got me into hockey and got me into playing hockey. He was pretty much the one that got me into playing hockey. He's a huge Canucks fan, and so we talk about it all the time. I clown on him whenever the Canucks lose. I'm always shooting him a text. But you'd think that I would hate the Canucks for this reason, talking shit with my friend. No, I actually do kind of like the Canucks. One of the main reasons is they have one of the best goal songs in the league. I made a top 10 goal horns and songs list in the NHL if anyone wants to go check that out. But other than the Canucks goal song, kind of similar reasons for why I cheer for the Leafs is because when the Canucks are in the playoffs, that Canadian crowd, that market is just insane. It's so entertaining to watch. Some of those comeback wins from the Canucks in the playoffs last year was some of the most entertaining hockey I've ever watched. And so it's just kind of a hype, entertaining market, and that's why along with my friend kind of cheering for the Canucks, that's why I kind of like to cheer for them as well. The last team in the casual like tier is going to be the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, the reason I like the Columbus Blue Jackets just a little bit is because just underdog story. And one of the main things I remember about this team is I think it was in 2019, the sweep of the Tampa Bay Lightning when the Tampa Bay Lightning like tied the record for best regular season of all time. And just what a hype underdog story that was. I think Torts was the coach. They had Oliver Bjorkstrand, Artemi Panarin, Sergei Bobrovsky on that team. Just a stacked team, and the Columbus Blue Jackets absolutely suck now. But some of the other reasons I cheer for them is the cannon is super cool. I think their jerseys are super cool. Some of the best sweaters in the league in Columbus. And so, yeah, it's just kind of a little underdog story. I cheer for them whenever they win. I'm happy. And so that's why Columbus comes in at number 7. Now, for number 6, we're moving up a tier into what you could call my secondary teams. And these are teams that I might not watch every game, but I'll try and watch the highlights for every game for them on YouTube. And coming in at number 6 is the Buffalo Sabres. Kind of a similar reason to the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Sabres just suck, and they're an underdog team that's fun to cheer for. The Buffalo fans, I just feel so bad for. I think they have the longest playoff drought in North American sports right now. And they're like on paper, their team is supposed to be good. They have fun players. Tage Thompson is one of the most fun players to watch in the league. They also got some other guys like Alex Tuck and Rasmus Dahlin. I mean, this is supposed to be a good team, but they just disappoint. And you look at their arena sometimes at home games, and there's just no one there. And so I feel bad, but I wish the Sabres could figure it out, and I cheer for them to figure it out. And I think some Buffalo playoff games would be pretty fun. And so that's why Buffalo comes in at number 6. Coming in at number 5 for teams I cheer for in the NHL, and here come the bandwagon comments because it is the Winnipeg Jets. I made this list before the season started, I just haven't recorded it yet, and so the fact that they got off to such a strong start makes this look a little bit bad. But the reason I cheer for the Winnipeg Jets is for one very simple reason. It's the whiteout. The whiteout in the playoffs when the Jets are in there is so cool. It is so entertaining. I love their goal horn. I think it's super fun and unique. And when that whiteout's going crazy in the playoffs when they score a goal, it's just fun to watch. Again, kind of another similar reason to the Leafs and Canucks, another Canadian market that it's just live, eat, and breathe hockey. And it's just super cool, cheering for the Winnipeg Jets. And I think they're one of the most underrated teams. I said it in all my prediction videos, my central prediction videos, and my betting prediction videos. I think they're maybe the most underrated team in the NHL right now. And it's showing because they're off to an 8-1 start by the time I'm recording this video. I think they have some of the best depth. They have the best goalie in the league, top 2 at least. And so, yeah, the Jets are just fun to cheer for, and I think Winnipeg gets slept on in terms of the Canadian market up there. And so I do like cheering for the Jets. I hope they make the playoffs every year so we get very many whiteout games because that's super fun, and I think it'd be fun for them to make a cup run as well. I don't think they've ever won a cup, so Winnipeg Jets, yeah, top 5 team for me. And my 4th favorite team, rounding out the secondary teams for me, it's going to be the Detroit Red Wings, and another just great market, an original 6 team here. And some things I like about the Detroit Red Wings, I started cheering for them last year. And the reason I started cheering for them last year is because they got Daniel Sprong, one of my favorite players in the NHL. He's so good, everyone is sleeping on him. He's literally the next coming of Wayne Gretzky's the best player in the league. But anyway, so Daniel Sprong joins the Red Wings and I start watching their games. But here's what I like about the Red Wings, other than Spronger being on the team last year. Their broadcast crew, Mickey Redmond, is one of the most entertaining guys in the league. A broadcast crew can make or break, the entertainment of a certain home team for sure. A goal horn as well can do that, and also just entertaining players. And this team has exactly pretty much all 3 of those things. And when you talk about some of the players they have DeBrincat, super fun to watch, and they added guys like Patrick Kane and Vladimir Tarasenko. Dylan Larkin is one of my favorite captains in the league. I think he's just a great guy, and you can tell he's got some of the biggest passion in the league, and I think he's just a really good captain over there. Another hockey influencer I love is Old Time Hockey. I think his name is Fritz, and if you guys know who he is, he's a Red Wings fan, and I just cheer for him to be happy because he's such a great guy. And also, the Red Wings push for the playoffs last year was also some of the most entertaining hockey I've ever watched. Those last 2 games against the Canadiens where they're just fighting for their lives to make the playoffs, and just those miracle plays that they made, absolutely insane. Amazing. How could you not cheer for the Red Wings to make the playoffs last year? And yeah, those are some of the reasons. The Red Wings, I cheer for them for sure, and they come in at number 4. Now we're getting into the primary teams. There's two teams on this list, and these are two teams I try to watch basically every game because I cheer for them with almost all of my heart. And my third favorite team in the NHL is the Ottawa Senators. And the Senators are kind of like the Sabres, where they're supposed to be a lot better than they are, but they just constantly disappoint their fans every year. But the thing about the Senators is I like their players a lot more and also their jerseys. They have some pretty cool sweaters. I really think that the Senators are going to make the playoffs this year. I predicted that in all my videos before as well. And they seem to be off to a decent start. I think they're like 5-4, and they just blew out the Blues the other night. And so the Senators, I just started watching a lot, and they're just another underdog team I cheer for to be back in the playoffs. Another Canadian market there. I think playoff games there would be super fun. I think Brady Tkachuk, another one of my favorite captains in the league, just an absolute brute force of a leader right there. Tim Stützle is one of the most entertaining players to watch. That dude can handle the puck like maybe better than anyone else in the league, other than McDavid. And they just have a lot of other pieces that are fun to watch. I love Claude Giroux. How can anyone not like Giroux? He's a great player. And now they finally have Linus Ullmark in net. I think this team could be solid if they can just figure it out. And so yeah, I constantly cheer for the Senators. They're number 3 on this list. Coming in at number 2 is the New York Rangers, and this is a team the past couple years when my number 1 team hasn't been in the playoffs, hasn't been doing very good. I've been following the Rangers throughout their playoff run, and that has just made me that much closer to them, like them that much more. Artemi Panarin is probably behind Spronger my favorite player in the league. Just such a cool player, so fun to watch. Igor Shesterkin, one of the best goalies in the league, and I talked earlier about the 3 things that make a team entertaining, and number 1 is the broadcast crew, number 2 is the goal horn and song, number 3 is just entertaining players to watch, and this is just a Rangers team at Madison Square Garden that has all 3 of these things. Not to mention their intro walkout is the Baba O'Reilly song, which is just a banger and such a cool part of that atmosphere in New York. And yeah, I think the Rangers have a real shot to win the cup this year. I think they should be maybe one of the favorites to come out of the East and maybe even win the cup. So yeah, go Rangers. They are my second favorite team in the league. Now we'll get to my home team. My favorite team in the National Hockey League is the Seattle Kraken. I'm from Seattle, and when Seattle got a hockey team, I could not be more stoked. I'm a season ticket holder for this team. I try to go to as many games as I possibly can. And honestly, even other than just being my home team, the Kraken are an entertaining team. Like, they have 4 lines of just energy. They can beat you with depth. Joey Daccord is my favorite player on this team. They used to have Daniel Sprong, who was my favorite player on the team. But yeah, the Kraken, they have a banger of a goal song. I love their broadcast team with John Forsland and Eddie Olczyk. And they got some entertaining players too. And so not just the fact that they're my home city, my home team, but they are fun to watch too. I hope they can make the playoffs, get back in there this year, and hopefully, win a cup in my lifetime. There's a lot of teams out there, a lot of fans of their home teams that have never won a cup in their lifetime. And it's a super hard thing to do. It's a super lucky thing to be a fan of a team winning cups. And so I hope, even though the Kraken are a new team in this league, I hope they can win a cup or two maybe in the next 10 years. They're pretty solid right now, but let's just try and make the playoffs first. So those are my top 10 favorite teams in the NHL. So now when I'm going forward making some of these hockey videos, some of you might understand where some of the bias is coming from. I try to eliminate all the bias as much as I can when making, say, prediction videos or just talking about teams in general, but it's going to leak in there. It's just natural for that to happen when you're cheering for certain teams, and especially cheering against certain teams. But yep, go Kraken, Rangers, and Senators. Those are my teams this year. The other teams, I cheer for on the side, and they're fun to watch. And so thanks for tuning in. If you made it to the end, you're awesome as always. And if you want to stick around for more hockey content in the future, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like, comment. What is your favorite team in the NHL? What are some of the, even if they're not your favorite team, what are some of the teams that you cheer for just on the side for entertainment? Let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, well, I'll talk to you. Peace.